Welcome to the program. Financial inclusion rates in Nigeria have gradually improved, but still fall short of the 25% target set by the federal government. Although financial inclusion in the country has undeniable successes, uptake of digital financial services, notably mobile money, is still lower than peer countries. According to World Statistics, Nigeria is in 5th position in sub-Saharan Africa, a slight decrease compared to the previous ranking. Overcoming this would require improving digital financial literacy, upgrading digital infrastructure, and promoting incubation and sound practices of fintech firms. Now, despite the shortcomings, the Nigerian Communication Commission (NCC) says digital financial inclusion peaked at 70% by May this year. Also, internet penetration rose to 160 million citizens from 159 million previously recorded. The NCC emphasized that it has become imperative for all stakeholders to prioritize infrastructure, inclusion and access, especially to those in rural areas. Now let's discuss this further. Kayode Adebayo, digital economy expert and CEO, Crowd, is my guest. Thank you for joining me. Now, financial inclusion rates have gradually improved but still fall short of the targets adopted in Nigeria's 2012 financial inclusion strategy. Now, what do you think is stopping the country from reaching the set target?
Well, I think from my own perspective, I think one of the biggest issues we've had as regards that is the ability to be able to sync data from the stakeholders in the financial sector, basically. We see that the banking sector for itself have, over the years, been able to mine data of customers and have data of customers, but at a certain strata of the economy. The mobile operators also came in at different times and also have been able to have and amass data for another different sector of the economy. And before now, I think if this were to be something that was really taken serious by those that oversaw the whole process itself, there will have been a need to be able to kind of sync the two types of data to be able to have a wider user base or wider inclusion structure for the different layers that the two sectors have been able to hold. But I think there has been quite a lot of issues around wanting to allow those data, allow access to both layers of data. But I think there's been a bit of an inroad into that now with the fintech, with the telcos generally wanting to enter into, payment solutions right now. So I think that has been the issue from my own perspective that has had that, that has caused that for a while. But now that the bottleneck has been, a bit is relieved now, I think we'll start to see some level of improvement generally in bringing, more of the grassroots people into a level where, they're able to access financial solutions, especially from a technology and from a technology perspective.
And what is the implication of the country falling short of this target by 25%?
Well, I think there are layers to that also. One of the first things that will happen is that I think it will be hard for us as an economy to prove, ourselves as being a modern economy, because in a modern economy, financial transactions or the flow of how money moves from one end is very transparent. It is very open. It is measurable. and to quite an extent, it includes as many people within the economy as possible. Us falling short allows us not to be able to enjoy the level of how do I say it now? Interventions that probably can be brought into this kind of space. For example, when you want to look at the retail system, when you want to look at some form of consumer activities around money, when you want to do retail, when you want to do some form of loans against maybe your name or your profile and all that, if we don't have a system where nearly everybody is captured within that particular arrangement, it now becomes a bit difficult. How do you do insurance, for example, and bring it to the grassroots? How do you do some form of financial, maybe ability to be able to get credit, for example, and bring it to the grassroots? How do you, somehow monitor some transactional situations, maybe being able to even peg fraud and do a lot of other stuff generally. So us falling short generally allows us to be excluded from this kind of, from the wide variety of things or structure that we are supposed to be able to enjoy as a citizen in one country. And I believe that is why it is very important, that's why the CBN right now is working together with different stakeholders in the industry to see how this can quickly be sped up and generally bring as much people into that space as much as possible.
So far, according to reports, the private sector and international development partners have contributed to efforts by the federal government to improve financial inclusion. In what other ways can these groups help the country to meet the full target?
Well, I think part of the ways in which those things can be done, it can't be done by the government, by itself. Government will need to allow an enabling environment for people that have those solutions, especially from technology perspective, those that are in the fintech. People are coming up with different ideas on a daily basis. The government needs to be able to make itself trusted first, be able to put policies in place and allow those policies to be stable, to allow those that have the capacity in technology, those that have the capacity in funding and financing to be able to come in and play this role on behalf of the government, and then also be able to enjoy the necessary rewards that come with having played that role. But the issue is that there have been so many forms of interventions by the government. Policies have not been exactly stable. So what you find is a situation where the private sector and the individuals generally, whether local or international, that want to come into those space and put together solutions that we onboard the grassroots more predominantly and bring them into this financial space to be able to play properly and be able to, deliver that particular project. They haven't had the how do I call it now? They haven't had the comfort generally to be able to come in, because a lot of them are afraid. I come in here, I come and play at this level. My investment have gone into this particular level, and one day, the government comes, slams a policy, and totally renders all my investment useless. How do I put that together as a loss? So I think the government itself needs to be genuine. The government itself needs to know that this is not what they can do by themselves. And if they will be allowing other people to come and do it by themselves, they need to be genuine, they need to be fair, and they need to help these people have the necessary comfort to be able to bring their finances, their knowledge, their technology capacity, their IPs to come and play in this space with an intention to eventually receive the reward of having done a good job. So I believe that if government is just more forward thinking and allow that genuineness to be able to play out and give the private sector generally, whether local, internationally, that comfort, I think we'll see a lot more improvement in that space and things will be more genuine, and we'll see far better results in the next 3 to 5 years.
Right, we understand that digital financial services can have a tangible impact on financial inclusion and the economy at large. Now, give us a picture of this benefit.
Okay, I wish I could state, so clearly some examples. For example, I have colleagues in the industry right now, some that are trying to put together technology around how to be able to leverage sports betting data and convert it into wallet systems that can, one way or the other, be used for payment solutions. I have people one way that are already looking at how can they start to use data. These are called telco data and recharge cards to see how it can become used for payment solutions where you can directly convert data into some form of payments and all that. So there are a lot of people that are coming up with very unique ideas around wanting to include more people in that financial space and include more people in that space. I have people also that have done technology in the past where they are trying to bring farmers into a technology and use their crops somehow to be able to operate as transactional value that will need payment solutions. So there are a lot of, we are not of want of fantastic ideas, but what we are of want of generally is a system and a government that understands that you need different stakeholders and players in this space to be able to allow your work to be done properly. All you have to do is just play the role of an overseer and one way or the other, leverage all these people to be able to deliver your own policy situations, on behalf of these people and on behalf of the country. So those people play a big role because they are the cerebrals, they are the intellectuals, they are the they are the minds and the brains that will allow that work to happen, and they are the ones that have the skill sets generally and the talent base to be able to put those functions together to allow us to be able to deliver on this. So are they important? They are very important, but they just need a fantastic umpire, an umpire that is fair, an umpire that understands that there's a cost implication to them wanting to play in that space, and also there's a value that they are entering that space to be able to, they have to returns that they have to make to their investors and all that. And if that umpire is fair and all that, I believe that to quite an extent, most of that solution rests, among those service providers. And I'm sure that they are willing generally to be able to impact that space in the way that needs to be impacted in order to be able to bring this value to the system.
So a recent survey by Enhancing Financial Innovation and Access, FINA 2021, that's a UK development institution, has found that in Nigeria, more than half of the adult population has limited financial literacy and capability. How can this challenge be addressed?
Well, that can be addressed again by technology, right? Personally, I believe that there are ways where you can use technology, you can use platforms to gamify learning. I and my colleagues, we are putting together a solution right now on our technology that is supposed to be used to develop the capacity of a particular sector of the economy. There are ways these things can be gamified. Naturally, people, imagine the volume of people that are personally watching this reality TV show that they bring in a lot of people to play together. I'm trying not to mention names. That they bring a lot of people to interact together and stay there for weeks, and someone eventually comes out with, with a prize. There are ways where learning can be gamified. Technology can be used for that. Media can be used for that. There are different ways in which you can put together trivias generally that allow, put incentives behind it where people, one way or the other, in engaging and in being part of that whole process nationally, they just have an idea that there's an incentive for them to be able to win at different particular times. So it can be gamified in a way where it can even generate revenue for the people that put the solutions together. So the idea that can people learn? People can learn. We all knew when this whole telco situation came in, where data came in, how many people can learn? You know how many people use WhatsApp now? even to the, you know, all your aunties that do broadcasts on WhatsApp every morning, either praying for you or doing all these things. So I believe we have the tools right now. I believe we have all it takes. It's just for the right people to, the right minds to come together and, you know, the right, how do I say it now? Let us have an end goal that we want to achieve. And when we have that end goal that we want to achieve, the players or the principals of that particular purpose, you know, can bring the right minds together. And these right minds can bring the ideas that will eventually be curated together. And they are the platforms that are available to be leveraged to be able to do that. Is it that they are designing their own personally for that purpose, or just partnerships with these platforms or with these tools generally can be used and it can be disseminated widely, you know, across the country. There's the database to be able to use. So I believe that if it is something that is genuine and something that one way or the other is important to the parties or the principals, it can be done. Just bring the right people together and don't politicize it. And I believe that, you know, we'll get the value that we want to get from it.
Well, Kayode Adebayo, the digital economy expert and CEO Crowd, thank you for lending your thoughts. We'll take a short break here. The program will continue shortly.